As some of you already know, we manage our son's diabetes. He has type 1. We manage it with a low carb approach. We don't necessarily eliminate carbs, but we do eat carbs that are easier on blood sugars. So tonight he's at football practice, so I thought I would whip up some enchiladas with a homemade green sauce. So let's get started, and I'll show you. I've already got the chicken boiling and it's done. I just have to shred that. But right now I'll show you, I'm gonna make a green chili sauce to put on the bottom of the pan for the enchiladas, and then I'll put a little bit on the top, but I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So my video failed, but I did add into this. I added a can of diced fire roasted green chilies. I'm kind of cheating because I don't really have a lot of time, but this is a 7-ounce can. I put in 2 tablespoons of sour cream. I also had 3 cloves of garlic that was minced up. I had a dash of salt and pepper. I didn't really measure it. Half a teaspoon of onion powder and a half a teaspoon of cumin. And then I added a half a cup of organic chicken broth. So I'm just gonna process this and then I'll be right back. And I do think the chicken is done. Actually, maybe I should check it. I boiled it there's 4 chicken breasts in there. And I boiled it for about 15-20 minutes. Oh yeah, that's done. Ow, that is hot. So I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna shred that and then I'll be right back. I am going to preheat the oven to 400, and then I am going to start assembling the enchiladas. Sorry, takes more than one brain cell to start the oven, I guess. So the enchilada sauce that I made in the little mini food processor is in a saucepan. I'm gonna add a small can of diced green chilies to that and get that heated up. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna go ahead and finish grating up this cheese. I was gonna use Colby Jack for these, but then I had like a half of a large block of Monterey Jack that we hadn't used, and it was just in a Ziploc bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and use Monterey Jack. And I'm actually not measuring this. This was probably like, the big blocks that you can get at Walmart. This was probably like half that size. Was gonna shred the chicken by hand, but I think this is gonna work a lot better. Normally we do it by hand, but this time I put it in the food processor. We have a big one, and it did get it kind of fine. So I am gonna be interested to see how that turns out, because normally the chunks are kind of long and they're stringy. I am going to use the Egg Life wrap. Walmart actually pisses me off, excuse my language, but they carry things for a long time, and you're just used to buying them there. And then suddenly you go in. I literally went into Walmart after work, because I don't work there anymore. Yay me. And I went in there after work and I was like, I'm just going to grab a few things we need for enchiladas. So I went in there. First thing I went to was the produce. Grabbed like cilantro. I grabbed, I think, a couple of tomatoes. And then I was like, I'll just grab some chicken instead of thawing it out. It'll be easier. And then I was like, Egg Life wrap tortillas. Well, get back there after I did all the other shopping, and they're not there anymore. Gone. Sign is gone. They've like discontinued them. I checked the app, not even in store anymore. Just kind of like the Rebel ice cream. They don't have it anymore. So I don't know. They're probably selling all that Beyond Meat crap and all that. That's probably what they got. But anyway. So yeah, it's just kind of annoying. But luckily we had 2 packages of the Egg Life wraps that were frozen. So I just defrosted those. So we're just going to use those. Normally, so I love Mexican food. Some of my kids don't really like it that well. But that was not me burp. That was the dog. Normally, so I guess that's the one thing, when we talk about diabetes, I don't even think it's the fact that he has diabetes. I mean, it does suck, I'm not going to lie. But it's unfortunate, Life would be a lot easier if he didn't have diabetes. But he was diagnosed just before he turned 10. And at the time, I was just devastated. Like, I think I cried for 2 weeks. But I think it's more that it's just inconvenient. You can't just go grab some garbage that's probably not even good for you anyway. But, we always used to go to this Mexican restaurant. It's family owned, sweet people. But we used to go there and, pig out on like chips and salsa. And I mean, they were corn chips, but still. And then we would eat we would always order enchiladas suizas because I used to love those things. Stuffed with cheese. They were good and their hot sauce was amazing. But, the chips are out. I still let my girls eat the chips as long as they're corn. Well, I mean, they're gone now. They went to college, but just like yesterday, I've been crying. But, it's like they don't have diabetes, although I guess they could develop it at any point. But they don't do well with gluten. So they're actually really, really good at staying away from gluten. So that makes me proud as a parent. Like, I feel like I instilled that in them. My oldest daughter, when she was about 12, she got her blood tested and she had all the antibodies against gluten. And the doctor told her at the time, stop eating it. You can't. You've got basically celiac or a gluten intolerance. And she's 30 now and she has like arthritis. So, there's that. Let me stir this really quick. I don't know. The only problem with this sauce is it doesn't seem to be thickening up very well, but that's okay. I better turn it down before I burn the sour cream. But what I'm going to do is I have a dish, a very nice dish. It's how do you say that? Le Creuset? I don't know. Anyway, TJ Maxx discount. So I am going to take the tortillas and not tortillas. Well, I guess they're kind of tortillas. I'm going to roll them up. I'm going to put cheese and chicken in there. I did chop up some stuff. I've got some cilantro, some red onion, aroma tomato, and some avocado. I've never done enchiladas this way before, but I did consider rolling that all up with the chicken and the cheese. But these aren't very big. They're kind of small. And so I feel like I'm just going to maybe put that on the top when we're ready to eat. So let me grab this sauce. And I'm going to pour some of this in the bottom of the pan. And then that might be a little hot. Maybe I should wait. We had a gas stove. And so this house, this isn't my forever home. This is like a temporary place. I'm going to put that over there because it's like steaming in my eyes. Kind kind of a long story, and I'll make it really short. But we lived in a house for 20 years in an up-and-coming city. I mean, a town, I guess. And the town has really boomed. Housing costs just skyrocketed since the 20 years ago that we bought the house. But, we bought an old farmhouse. And it had like 9 acres. I had this dream of like growing our own food, raising my kids out on some land. And it ended up just being full of mold. Didn't know it at the time. But our middle daughter, who just graduated high school, was about 13, 12 at the time. And she got really sick. She got extremely, extremely sick. This was about a year after our son was diagnosed with type 1, which, by the way, does not run in our family. And she just got really sick. I mean, I can't even explain how sick she was. She was passing out. She was tired all the time. She was crying all the time. She had headaches. She couldn't breathe. She was congested. She had asthma attacks. It was bad. So we were remodeling, and I'm sure that didn't help, just all the construction dust. But we were remodeling, and we found a whole wall under her room full of mold. The color of the mold was black. I don't think it was Stachybotrys, but I think it was Aspergillus or it was Penicillium. And then I believe, so the humidity was really high in there. And I believe that because they don't have a subfloor under the wood floor, you could literally feel the air coming up from the crawl space. So I think that's probably all moldy. I don't know. We haven't went under there and looked, but we do still own the house. She doesn't go out there. She hasn't been out there in 3 years. And, I don't know. Life just changed. So anyway, we quickly bought this house so the kids could finish school and finish the swim team. But my point, long way to my point, we had a gas stove. When we bought this house, they put a gas stove in it. And the gas stove, so they had the microwave above here, but they didn't vent it correctly. They didn't vent it out the house. It just blew it back in, which apparently that is code, but so we ripped it out, bought a vent hood. We just have a microwave on the counter now. We still haven't finished it. We still have to tile, but we vented it up on the top, out the roof. But the gas stove was so hard to clean. And I feel like every time we would cook, she would kind of have some breathing issues. I don't know if that was from the gas stove itself or if that was from just it not venting outside and just blowing back in. So anyway, we recently got a cooktop, flat top electric, which is fine. I don't really care. I mean, I like gas a little bit better, but especially when the electricity goes out, you can still use a gas stove. But anyway, I think this is cooled off by now. Okay, so I am going to take the cheese. Let's see if I can do this. Sometimes I get them so stuffed that I can't roll them up, so that's never good. Oh yeah, this is way better chicken. Way better. Like it's way easier to put in there because I never really liked the way it was kind of stringy if I just did it by hand. So I'm just going to roll those up really tight. And I'm going to put them in there. So the packages have, 6 in each one? So I have 12. So I'm going to just add whatever I think. I'm going to go a little heavy on the chicken just because we do tend to do a little more protein. And when I went to pharmacy school, I never knew anybody that had actual diabetes in real life, I mean, But I took they teach you all about that in pharmacy school. But I took a diabetes class as an elective, which was weird because my son ended up being diabetic. But, I thought when I was taking that class that, diabetes isn't a big deal, right? You just count the carbs, you dose the insulin. Easy peasy. How hard can it be? And then I was older when I went to pharmacy school. And I think it was 6 years. Shoot. No, it was 5 years after I graduated pharmacy school. He was diagnosed. And I was actually devastated. I knew the outcome. Like if you don't take care of yourself but they taught us in pharmacy school that losing your feet and your legs and all that was just part of having diabetes, right? But it doesn't have to be that way, I figured out. I've learned that you can manage it safely with just different food choices. I mean, I know America really loves their pasta and their bread and their rice and all that. And we're taught that, we have to eat like so much portion of our food as carbs, grains, whatever. But I'm here to tell you that is total BS. I have another package of this somewhere. Hold on. But that is total crap. So you can eat healthy. Your body, I'm going to bust somebody's bubbles out there, but your body does not have to consume carbs. Any sugar, glucose that your body needs, it can actually make on its own. You do not have to consume carbs. And that was the lie that we were told by the endocrinologist when he first got diagnosed. They said, it took us about 2 weeks. 2 weeks of trying to manage it like I was taught because I didn't know there was another way. But she told us, you're going to kill him. His body needs carbs. And then we were told that he would have an eating disorder. And then we were told that he has to have carbs to grow. His body must have carbs. Well, you don't. Are they good? Do they taste good? Yeah. We used to eat pasta all the time. And they are filling. I give them that. They fill you up. But we don't actually eat zero carb. He does eat a lot of protein, but we don't eat zero carb. Because, I don't know, what fun is that? He eats a few blackberries for breakfast. We did recently switch to using Smarties for correcting any lows that he has, which he doesn't have a lot of lows. But sometimes we get the insulin wrong. But we don't use the fast insulin except to correct anything. We use the R, which you can buy at Walmart without a prescription. So we use that to cover the protein, and it works really well. I did decide that he probably needs more fish because we're not big fish people, but I feel like his body probably needs like the good fats, I don't know if these are going to fit. Okay, I have one left. I'm going to squish it. Golly, that is tight, though. Maybe I should have moved a smaller one over. And I've got way too much chicken. But, yeah, so we used to use a lot of tallow and stuff, but I've kind of come off of that train. And we do a lot of usually if we fry anything, which we're not big fryer people, but if we do fry anything, I guess I'll give that to the dog. If we do fry anything, I usually use avocado oil, but okay. So I got those all in there like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour sauce on them, and then I'm going to put them in the oven for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or something. I feel like I need to move that around because these little things can be a little dry if they're not sauced up. So I'm just going to push that around. And just make sure they're all covered because like the ends tend to dry out if you don't. And actually, I might take, you know what? I'm going to get this Mexican cheese. What is this? Ranchero queso fresco. And I'm going to crumble that on top. If I can get the package open. I really like this cheese. It's really good. I'll just put some of that on there. Yeah, there wouldn't have been room in here for the avocado and all that, so I'll just do that on top. And I don't know how this sauce is going to turn out. Usually we make the green chili sauce or green sauce that we usually use for enchiladas. I usually roast the tomatillos and just make it that way. But this will be interesting. It seemed like it would be a shortcut just to use the little can of green chilies. And I didn't get the hot ones. I think I got mild. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the oven, 400, and for about 15 minutes, and we'll see how it turns out. So here is the final product. Lighting is bad. It's at night, so I don't have any lighting other than our home. But anyway, this is what they look like. Let's give them a try. Okay, so here they are. I kind of gussied them up with the avocado. I put some canned, what is it called? Like fermented jalapenos. There's some salsa and some sour cream. Gonna see how they taste. Oh yeah, this chicken is a lot better the way it is. Like it's not too long. Yeah, those are good. Those are actually good. So that's a keeper. I don't know what I did. Luckily, I made a video, so yep. I like them. Anyway, you guys should try these. I don't know. I guess they're keto, maybe low carb, something, but very good.